welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be the BJD Love Tag by Teeny Tinkers. I'm really excited to do this. She did this tag around Valentine's Day, and the cool thing about this tag is you get to learn so much about other collectors, but you also learn a lot about yourself when you go through and you do one of these tags. And so I really wanted to do it, and I encourage you guys to participate in it as well. A question that I get a lot of times is, how do you come up with content for your channel? Like, I want to be a YouTube creator, but I can't think of content to do, or I don't have a lot of unboxings to do. You know, content's not always unboxings. You can do these BJD tags. They're great because, like I said, you'll learn more about other people in the community. You'll learn more about your own collection because it makes you stop and think. So just wanted to put that plug out there for doing tags on YouTube, and especially this one. This one's a lot of fun. I've watched a lot of tags, and sometimes they're just really fun and you just want to jump in and join in right away, and that's this one. This is the BJD Love Tag. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now, I am going to say this. I'm going to keep this only to BJDs. As you guys know, I collect a lot of other dolls besides BJDs. You can see some here in the cabinet that are not BJDs, but this is a BJD tag, so I'm going to keep my answers only to BJDs. So you may see a question like, wait, Allison, I thought that this doll answered that question for you. Well, it's just, I'm just going to stick to BJDs for this tag. Take a shot every time I say BJD. Okay, next. The first question is, what is a doll that was love at first sight for you? And for me, that's like all the dolls. I'm very impulsive when it comes to my doll buying. As long as I'm financially able, if I see a doll I want, I buy. That's kind of how I am. I'm just really impulsive like that. That's also why sometimes I end up selling dolls, because I'll get a doll that I bought on impulse, and for whatever reason it doesn't fit into my collection. But a doll that I really loved on very first sight, and I could not rest until I had one, was Napalm Doll's Hush. I love this doll so much. I love her so much that I bought her in 1, 2, 3, 4 other colors. So I have a total of 5 Hush dolls. I just think the sculpt of this doll is so incredible. I think she is so beautiful. I love the artistry behind her. This is the only one that I have that actually doesn't have the artist's face up. I'm going to show you another that does have the artist's face up. I've got 3 of her full set dolls. So this one was a full set. The first one I got was blank and nude, and I had to send her off for face up. But I was just really, really thrilled to be able to add a couple of full set dolls to my collection. One I bought through a gallery, and then 2 I ordered directly from her. So I really just love this sculpt. I would have this sculpt in every color, seriously. Like, and normally I don't do that. Like, one of the ways I try to keep my collection on the small side is by not doing duplicate colors, because, you know, duplicate colors, like, I can have just one sculpt in one color and not do a bunch of sculpts in the same color. But this is one doll that I could really have in every single color, and I would not mind whatsoever, because I just adore this sculpt so much. So that was the doll that really, of all of them, like I said, if I really think about it, this was the one that was probably love at first sight, like, most of all for me. The next question on the list is, what is the BJD that got away? Okay, so I had to really think about this one, because one of the ones that I had been really obsessed about a lot was my Shoo-Hoo by Rose BB Flockling, and I was able to replace him. So I really had to stop and think, like, what is the BJD that if I could get right now that I don't have, or that's not on pre-order, you know, whatever, what's the one that got away? And I really thought about it, and it's probably the Poupées Sisters Quetzal. Now, I have 2 Poupées Sisters dolls here, and I'm going to show you this one. This is Cuckoo, and I had a Quetzal. You guys might be sitting there thinking, wait, we saw you unbox one. I did, and I got a surprise face up for her, and she ended up coming with red lips. And that's kind of what you sign up for when you ask artists to do artist choice and do a surprise. You may end up getting something that you don't like. I normally will tell a face-up artist no red lips on a doll, but I didn't in that particular case, and she came with red lips. And so I ended up selling her. And now they've discontinued Quetzal because what I had decided is I'm going to get her, but I'm going to get her painted by the sisters. Well, the sisters had stopped doing painting in between the time that I got Cuckoo here and the time, because I ordered Cuckoo at the same time that I had ordered Quetzal, but I got them close to the same time actually. They had stopped painting, so I said, well, when they start painting again, I'm going to order her painted by the sisters. Well, now they've discontinued that sculpt. So I'm kind of disappointed. Not just kind of disappointed, I'm pretty disappointed about that. On the one hand, it's not that I regret selling my doll because she wasn't exactly what I wanted. The body that she came with, I thought I had ordered the body with scarification and I didn't. That was my mistake. And then she had red lips, red fingernails. She was beautiful, but again, I'm just not a red lip person. There's only like 1 or 2 dolls I have in my collection that I really like the red lip look on, and I didn't like it for her. And so I am disappointed that I was not able to get her now that the sculpt is discontinued. People have asked me why is it discontinued. I really don't know. My guess is they had some kind of, like, I'm guessing FKA Twigs, who the sculpt is based after, like asked them to stop doing it. That would be my guess, other than because the doll is so popular and so many people would want to buy her. If there was a problem with the mold, I would think they would just remake it. I don't think they would just discontinue it totally. So that's just my thoughts. So don't go tell people, well, Allison said that, you know, there was a problem with FKA Twigs. I don't know that to be the case, but in my mind, like, I'm thinking that's got to be what it is. So anyway, that's probably the one that got away from me, because I really would have liked to have had her painted by the sisters, but again, they had stopped painting, and so I was waiting for them to start painting orders again to order one, and now they say she's discontinued. So do I wish I had my old one back? Not exactly, because again, like, I don't love the paint, like the red lips on her. Again, it was gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but just anything but red lips basically for me. I would have rather her had, like, you know, some crazy like purple lips or something. But anyway, so that's probably the one for me that got away. So maybe one day they'll re-release the sculpt, or maybe there's another reason that they're not releasing it. Maybe they're trying to save that for artist full sets. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get one. I'm not too heartbroken about it, but that is probably the one that I would say got away, because that's one that I did want, and now it doesn't look like that I'll ever be able to get that in the future. The next question is, are any of your dolls in relationships? Really, for me, not really. Like, I don't really couple my dolls off. I just use, like, I'll make a couple scene every once in a while if I want to, just with whatever dolls. The closest thing I could think is I kind of look at my 3 Pasha original dolls as like in a throuple, like, if that counts, because I do kind of look at them that way. Like, that's the way I see them. That's probably really the only, and that's not a couple, they're a throuple. So that's really probably the only dolls in relationships that I have. I have the Rufus doll from Tonner, but he changes relationships a lot. Like, he just dates Elwyn or Prudence or whoever's available at the moment. Like, he just is a stand-in for photos basically. So he doesn't have an established relationship. But for now, they're in a throuple. Whenever I get another Pasha original doll, which that's what I'm hoping, knock on wood, this year, to add, I like to add 1 Pasha full set each year, like, because I get my bonus in the summer. But when I get whatever that is, I'll probably pair them off, and they'll no longer be a throuple. There'll be like 1 couple and another couple. But I really don't have really dolls otherwise that are couples, because I don't develop a lot of backstory to my dolls either. Like, in my mind, I don't have a lot of backstory. Like, I buy a doll because I like the way they look. I'm not really like the story creator with my dolls. And so it's, you know, sometimes a doll will have a personality to me and that'll jump right out. But sometimes they're, you know, they just, you know, I have them sitting here because I look at them while I work all day. So they're sitting here on this shelf, but I do kind of see them as a throuple. So I guess that's the closest thing, or that's the closest answer I have for this question. Number 4 is, who's a doll you've fallen out of love with? And as a general rule, you guys haven't seen my updated doll room tour yet because I haven't made it yet, but I'm planning to make it. I used to have a tiny house here, and I got rid of the tiny house and to make room for more dolls because the tiny house was huge. And I've just fallen out of love with tinies in general. I don't love super tiny dolls. I do love them. I love to look at them, but when it comes to actual like playtime and changing wigs and changing hair, I do that a lot more with my bigger dolls. So like when I have a doll like this is Pookie Fee Jude, and this is one I got from a friend of mine I bought. And I just loved her face when I saw her, but I've only, you know, I've never even got her a proper wig. Like this wig is not really a great wig for her. I've changed her eyes out. I like the eyes she's got in, but I've never redressed her or anything other than the first time I got her. And so it's just like with tinies, and I think it's just because they are so small. You know, I like them. I like looking at them in theory. I like tinies, but in real life, when I have them here, like I just kind of have them sitting here on the shelf. I don't have them in their little house anymore. Tinies aren't, I don't love them the way that I used to. Because when I first started collecting ball jointed dolls, I had a lot of tinies and they were really cute, but I also, as time has gone on, I like a more mature doll, and tinies, generally speaking, are not as mature. So, you know, it's easy to do to fall out of love with a doll, and a lot of times, you know, you can resell those dolls. I've sold dolls that I actually still love, but you know, for whatever reason they don't fit into my collection, or I don't have a good space to display them. I'll sell dolls if they don't have clothes that they can share with other dolls. But just in general, falling out of love with a doll, I don't love tinies the way that I used to. I've just fallen out of love with that size, kind of that age category. There's always going to be the ones like the shoo-hoos that tug at my heart and I end up adding to my collection anyway. But as far as like generally speaking, I generally shy away from tiny dolls. And when somebody has a pre-order and I'm like, oh, I really want that, and then I have to remind myself, no, you don't, Allison. Like, you don't like tinies, you like USD or larger. So that would be my answer for that one. That one was kind of hard to come up with, but it's definitely got to be the tinies. Number 5 is, how do you bond with your dolls? And I've talked about this before, but when I get a new doll and I'm ready to bond, or I want to bond with the doll, I kind of like take that doll everywhere. Like I sit on the couch and I watch TV with the doll. And this doll is a great example of one that I did this with. Sat on the couch just looking at the doll, like, because they're beautiful. You know, when you get a new doll, you really want to study them and see every detail that they have. I put her beside me in bed, like not in bed, but on the nightstand beside my bed. When I'll come to work in the morning, you guys see that I work in my doll room, I'll bring one and I'll put it on the shelf close to my desk so I can kind of look at the doll. And I just do that, spend a little time. Sometimes I will change clothes, like just to see what kind of size the doll wears. Sometimes I do wig play. Not as often, because I don't have loads of, actually I do have loads of like loose wigs, but they're all kind of in bad shape, so I don't really change those around that much. But that's how I really bond with a doll, is just spending the time with it. Now, when I really bond with a doll is like if I take a doll with me outside of the home to do something with. So like if I take a doll to the mountains to take photos, or to the beach, or on a quick weekend trip, or just even out to like on my daily errands, that's a really big bonding experience for me. You know, just taking a doll with me to do those sort of things. Like you saw when Shira and I got our Kiwi dolls, we took them out. Like we got them that day and we took them out around town, like went and had some food and took some pictures and got some boba tea and stuff like that. Like if I do an activity, that really helps me bond with my doll as well. But if I'm not doing anything, you know, just sitting on the couch watching a movie, and then when I go to bed, take the doll with me, put it next to me on the nightstand. When I come to work in the morning, bring the doll in the doll room and kind of set it up somewhere where I can see it, and that really helps me bond with a doll. The number 6 question is, which doll was your first love? And of course, you guys have heard me talk about my dolls that were my first loves, but my first BJD love was this Lola by Birdie Creedy. I saw this doll at IDS in Asheville, and I could not stop thinking about her, and I just absolutely had to have her. And I ended up emailing Birdie Creedy, the artist, and she still had one left from the show. I had never spent so much on a BJD before in my life. And when I saw, you know, how much, like I came home, thought about it, and I just couldn't stop thinking of that face. You know, I just thought she had the sweetest face. I thought she was so cute. I had never seen artist ball jointed dolls before. I had seen a little bit of ball jointed doll, like Volks dolls somewhere, but like they never really caught my eye. But when I saw her, this face just, it hooked me. And I ended up buying her and still have her. She's the first BJD I ever had. Shortly after I got her, there was another doll I had fallen in love with there, which is Kim Arnold's Olivia. This is Olivia. I also bought her like weeks after I saw her in person. I found her on eBay. I didn't get her directly from Kim, but ever since then, all of my trinket box dolls have come directly from the artist. But when I saw, you know, at that show, and it wasn't just them, Connie Lowe was there, Val Zeitler was there. Like, I loved their dolls. Their dolls are even more expensive than these. And so at that time, that was not within my grasp. But these two I was able to add to my collection and absolutely love them. And these are the first two BJDs I've ever had. Like, they're the first two. Still have both of them. Adore them so much. And that is what got me started into ball jointed dolls. Again, I have a lot of other dolls that aren't ball jointed dolls because I've always been a doll collector, but the ball jointed doll journey started with these two. Number 7, the last question is, which doll have you put the most love into? And that is, and when I think the question, have you put the most love into, could mean like, which doll have you done the most work on? For me, I haven't really done a lot of work on my BJDs. I've been lucky to not have to do that, or I've just kind of ignored the problems. But the doll that I've put the most love into is definitely my Coco Momoni. If I could only keep one ball jointed doll, it would be her. She arrived at a time in my life when things were really bad for me. I had been recently diagnosed with MS. I had lost my beloved cat. She passed away, and it was just a really, really rough time for me. And I got her, and she just had the sweetest, happiest face, and it really just like uplifted me so much. And I sat with her, kind of like I talked about earlier about bonding, sat with her on the couch and just binged Star Trek for days at a time because I was just seriously depressed. You know, you get diagnosed with a disease, a degenerative neurological disease like that. It's not a good time, and she just came at the right time, and you know, everything, she just really, like, I projected, like, or I didn't project, but like she just projected love, and she represented to me everything that was good about my life at the time, because even with those things, I have a lot of great things in my life, right? And sometimes, you know, we need a reminder of that even when things are really crappy. Like, I at least had my dolls, I had my wonderful family and husband, and you know, that just reminder that she gave me is why I love this doll so much. Not only because she's an amazing doll that poses amazingly well, but I just have that history with her, that emotional attachment to her, because she really did come at a point in my life where I needed that reminder to say, you know, even though this really, really awful stuff is happening, you have a lot of great things still going on in your life, and even if you end up in a wheelchair and you lose all your mobility, you can still enjoy your dolls even with limited mobility. And so that was what she really helped remind me of when I got her. And so she is the BJD that I guess I would say I've put the most of my heart into, like from an emotional standpoint. And like I said, if I could only keep one, I would have to choose her as the one, just because of the history that I have with her. But anyway, that was my BJD Love answers to the tag. Please do the tag if you haven't already. Leave a link for me in the comments below if you do it, so I can check yours out. I love learning things about other collectors. It's always interesting for me to hear people's choices and why they made those choices, and also helps introduce me to new types of dolls. Probably the same with you guys. You know, when you watch these tags that people do, you see dolls that you've never really heard of before, that you've never paid attention to before. You know, when you see someone else's love for a doll and you see how they interact with a doll, a lot of times that can change your perception of a doll. And I've found that to be the case for me many times when watching other dolly YouTube channels or seeing other people's pictures on Instagram. When you see a way that a person reacts to a doll, you realize, hey, that doll might be a good fit for me. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Teeny Tinkers for putting together this awesome tag. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Cindy K., Bear Sunflower, Diane B., Kelly L., Cindy L., Susie W., Krista R., Victory Run, Shorna R., Shira Star Hobby, Stephanie W., Jessica S., Ray M., and Asia C. Your support means so much to me and helps me continue bringing you great dolly content. For information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please see the link in the video description. Thank you so much for watching.